everybody. Welcome to Anti-Ruggers United. Today we have an AMA with OG Token. So let's get started by having Joey introduce yourself and talk briefly about your experience, your past, like in real world and crypto, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. No problem. For sure. So I just want to thank everybody for having me here, especially for you, Boryakus. I think I was really excited to be here because I've seen the members here and I really want to be able to connect. So yeah, I'll share a little bit about myself. I have 10 years of corporate experience, mostly in finance and IT. Finance as in credit institution. So I was 6 years there and then 4 years in IT. Basically what I do day to day in corporate world is related to business risk management, business relationship consultancy, some part of it in the beginning. Then I got into fraud prevention for the credit institution. So I was really lucky I get to work with FBI sometimes, but it's really not that often. Like a lot of people will be like, oh, it's so cool, but there's not a lot of cases that you would actually go to the FBI. It's really like really crazy ones. Normally you just work with local authorities or the Interpol. But I was really lucky to be able to have worked with the FBI before in some way. And then later on, I was in IT, but mostly related to managing the Center of Excellence for the Asia Pacific region. So that's mostly related to quality assurance. So I take care of policies regarding the quality assurance for the service desk, as in I create them and I lead the team globally that does the analysis for it, voice of customer analysis, and coaching. So a few things here and there about what I do, a lot on project management as well, because that's basically what my role is. I'm a senior technical project manager in the company. So that's my corporate experience. When it comes to crypto, however, I have a very different experience. I actually started crypto very young, back in 2009 when Bitcoin just started, we can mine them. So FYI to many people, I am a huge fan of 4chan. I used to be there all the time. I would say 4chan made Bitcoin happen. Like we trusted for it to happen. Obviously, I was really young. I didn't fully understand it. I mined it as well because I am in the MMORPG gaming community. So, it goes around and some people use it as a currency to accept things that you buy. Being a teenager at that point, don't calculate my age, by the way. Being a teenager at that point, obviously it's impossible for you to have a credit card to pay for what you want in the game, especially MMORPG games. Like, your shield could give you more attack or whatnot, and you want it in the game, and you can't pay for it. So what do? You transact with Bitcoin. That's exactly what happened. So I wish I've never used them ever because it was a lot, like you can mine a lot of it in the beginning. I've got thousands of it, but I also spent all of them. So when you hear the story about the guy who spent 11,000 Bitcoins for the pizza, it's not ridiculous because back then we really don't understand how to use it. So any opportunity that we have, we see it as a plus because at that moment, you don't need a really strong GPU or whatever to mine them, as not many people are mining at that moment. So it's not that difficult. And I sold it all for like $150, I would say, and I thought I made it. That's 2009 at the 1,080 something Bitcoin. So I every 4 years when Bitcoin does its halving, I die a little inside. But that's just the beginning of my journey with crypto. I stopped for sure because, like I said, back then I didn't fully understand the value. So I stepped into crypto again back in 2017, where I started back with Ethereum, and I was mining Ethereum, and I was also holding XRP. That's when the XRP has really introduced a different field when it comes to crypto itself, because they have max circulation that they pre-create, whereas before that it's all proof of concept and for proof of work, where people have to mine the tokens, the coin itself. So yeah, I was 2017, I was still, these are all me as an investor. So when it comes to managing project, however, OG is not my first project. I'm one of the founder, The other founder is actually doing something in the background, another call with a partner. But I am basically, for me itself, this is my second official project that I co-own. It's helping out projects is not my first. The first project last year we started in 2021, May 2021. That's BNB Cash for people who have heard it before. I ultimately left in October 2021. I left the team, but I went on and I was to start OG back in November itself. So end of October I left. About 2-3 weeks OG has started on its own, but at the background. So it wasn't exposed to the public. It was from a very small private community. We started our developments itself in November. In December, we registered for our company in Singapore. So if you go to our website, you'll be able to see our registration number over there. You can search on the government site. It should bring you to Organic Growth Private Limited, which is the company that we've set up. We chose Singapore as a country to set up because they have very strict regulation, but at the same time, they are heavy pushers of the crypto industry. They want to name themselves as the #1 global crypto hub. So, we want to be able to grow with them, and I'm half Singaporean, so I do want to stick with what I know best as well. So that's basically my journey and how we started OG. In February, we finally started exposing this to public. We had our little private sale before going to public. So that small little private sale, before that in November, we secured $100,000 from 2 angel investors plus our own money to start the development. But in February, we had a very small private sale of about almost $20,000 for about 50 people. So these people are the small private group that I said they've been waiting all the way from last year, November, up to now. And some of them are here actually joining us in the call. I know some of them who have been following us on every of our AMA tour. So that's really cool. 12th of March itself, we had a pre-sale. Then immediately we launched because it fills within second. We used Unicrypt. It was quite unfortunate that we had issues with our contract when it comes to splitting the taxes. So our liquidity pool is BUSD. So Unicrypt did create a BUSD pool for us, but the router itself created a pair for BNB. And I've heard of this issue before, but I didn't think that it would affect us because our settings were correct. So I guess within 12 hours from we launched, we stopped trading immediately because we didn't want it to continue affecting the current holders. They didn't sell. A lot of them, they did not sell. They still hold on despite the issue. And there were issues with the prices, but they were holding on. So we were like, no, we got to stop this immediately. And we got to relaunch. And that's where we are. We're going to relaunch in about 47 hours from now. It will be a fair launch this time. We're not going to do another pre-sale because we've already collected some money from pre-sale. So we're migrating at the moment. We're really lucky, actually. We have engaged Trinos. I know he's in this group for his help to create our second contract. So he has agreed. He has taken on to it. I hope that everything will go well. I trust him so much. He's a big guy in the space. So the relaunch is going to happen. So that's the introduction of what I do, what I've done, and a little bit about OG. I'm sorry if it's a bit too long.
No, that's fine, because that's actually some of the questions I was going to ask anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys had a private sale for 19,600 BUSD, right? And that was in November?
No, that's in February.
Oh, that was in February, okay. No, but you said you had a small one in November, no?
No, the big one. There's a major one in November, but there's 2 angel investors plus both the founders' money. That's $100,000. That's in November.
Okay,
but that's only 4 of us.
Okay, so the angel investors. Okay, you guys raised $100,000, and the privates in February. How much did that one raise?
19,600 that you've mentioned.
Okay, what about? Okay,
that's
I see in the white paper there's other 65,000 from pre-sale.
That's
so I know you guys have.
Yeah.
that pre-sale happened?
Yeah, the pre-sale happened.
When was that?
The 12th of March.
Okay, so you guys raised 165,000 in pre-sale, and also 100,000 from foreign investors, and also 19,600 from private sale, right?
Yep.
So when you had the pre-sale in March, can you explain again what happened? You guys launched after that, and there were issues.
Yep, correct. So in initial place, we realized that, in the contract, everything was right. It was showing up all the taxes, but when the people were trading, there were no taxes. So that has caused, because we had pre-sale and the launch price is about 10%, we were supposed to have buy tax of 10% and sell tax of 15% to make sure that at launch they wouldn't just dump just because it started pumping. It didn't happen. We were really puzzled because it's showing that there were taxes. We kept trying to update it, and it's still showing that there were taxes. And that's when we realized that probably because of the trip that it has to do with the pair that it went. So our liquidity pool from Unicrypt is BUSD. So we raised 165,440. About 90 over 1,000 of it went into the liquidity pool. That should be in BUSD. But the contract has directed the pool to the BNB liquidity. So what happened was, when we were trying to deduct taxes or changing the taxes, whatever that is forced sold into the liquidity, it became nothing because obviously the pool has no money because we have nothing in BNB. So that was the issue. And we realized that was happening. So we had to stop it immediately within that 12 hours and said, it's okay, we have to do a relaunch.
Oh, okay. So how did the relaunch go? Because I know some people probably lost money, some people sold, some people held. They send in their tokens, and everyone that sold, basically, that's your choice, and everyone that sent in tokens is going to get the airdrop. Is that how it's working?
So, yeah. So for everybody who sends in the tokens, the purpose of it, like many other migrations, is because we need to drain the liquidity. There's a lot of trust that needs to come from the community because obviously they're returning everything back to us, and there's no way that they can keep us accountable if we just say hasta la vista, bye guys. But the whole point of having those tokens is to drain as much as we can. Since the liquidity is immediately locked from the launch pad, that's what we wanted anyway. But that has caused issue to this. So even when they send all their tokens in, we will not be able to drain everything. But like I said, we have some money from previous funds and whatnot, so we can feed it into the liquidity first. So as the tokens do unlock in the future, as we have locked everything up, we don't have additional tokens, we can drain it as it unlocks to feed it back to the
how much
budget.
How much will there be left in there that needs to be drained still? How much in liquidity will be left?
Yeah, so right now, I think everyone has sent. I think only 10% of the people did not send. We will only be able to drain about half of the liquidity pool, which is about 33,000. There's 66,000 in the pool. So we will be feeding another 33,000 back into the pool. To be able to drain everything, it will take us up to September or October.
October, that's when it's unlocked?
No, so every month we have some tokens that will unlock for different purposes.
Okay.
So we have to wait monthly, so we have to drain every month little by little.
I see. What about the actual unlock date? Is it like a year from now or 2 years? For
the liquidity pool or the tokens?
Yeah, the liquidity pool. Like how long
the
did you guys
liquidity
lock
pool
it
is
for?
a year.
A year?
A
Okay.
year.
So worst case, you could have just waited a year anyways, and then. So the plan is, I'm assuming, is once you do get those tokens every month, you're gonna add them back to liquidity, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you basically remove the, or you sell the tokens, you get your BNB back, then you can pair the BNB up with tokens and add them back in. Okay, cool. So let's go talk about the project now. So we kind of got a little bit ahead of ourselves on this part of it, but let's go back and give us an introduction about the project, what you guys are all about, like the use cases of it, the large scope picture, the big picture of what it's all about.
For sure, no problem at all. I'll be happy to. So this part can be a little lengthy as well because it goes back to how we came about the project, why we built this, what we do. Um, so essentially, we noticed that there is a huge problem within crypto marketing. How did we realize that? Previously I managed another project, but it's not just that. I also helped out on different projects in general. One thing that I do know that is extremely common to all project owners is they have been scammed in one way or another by a marketer. It doesn't matter what kind of marketer they are. They could be people who do upvote services. They could be people who come to you and say they do listings, or TikTok influencers or YouTube influencers. So there's a lot of different kind of scam in the space, and where people just take advantage of whoever that they can scam, basically. Um, so essentially, not just because of the scam, um, it's also really hard for project owners in general to look for appropriate crypto marketing help, or places where they can search and give a good benchmark. Because right now, really, if you look at how would a project owner search, right? If you go to Google, a lot of these sites that says top 10 marketing agencies or top 10 this or that, even that, they paid for it. That's the truth. Like, you wouldn't know until you really get really experienced, or you had a lot of money gone out of your pocket when it comes to this. That's few things. From the marketer's perspective, they have also faced a lot of challenges. I'm sure everyone who has invested in tokens here, one way or another, you must have seen people saying this sentence in project groups. Sir, can I send you a marketing proposal? So this shows that there is a huge issue because people are going door to door to knock, and that's not wrong. Like, they're looking for business, they're freelancers. Obviously, it can be a bit annoying when there's too many of them. But are they doing something wrong in this essence? No. I would say there's a gap in the market, right? So real marketers that has to go door to door knocking, scammers, they take the opportunity to imitate as these people to scam the project. So it becomes like a loop, right? Where people who step in, come into the group, they could be legit, they could be fake, but project owners can't trust them. So they can't use these people. The same thing happens to these people who provide services. They can't do anything about it because, well, a lot of people are disguising as scammers. So what can they do? They can just keep with their rodeo every day, just going door and knock to knock until someone, hopefully they trust them without reporting their Telegram account gets deleted and have to buy another one and create all over again. This too affects two target. This crypto marketing issue affects two main target that I've spoken about at this moment, but it also affects a third group of people, which are the crypto investors. So the crypto investors day to day, I would say a lot of them don't understand the things that do go on in the background. Some projects, they do spend a lot of marketing effort. They do spend a lot of money related to marketing to share on their new utility or to push any new initiatives that they have. But due to the problems that they have on finding the right marketers or being scammed, it's not always effective. And that's why it doesn't always produce results. Again, these are some of the issues. It doesn't mean that it represents all the issues in the crypto marketing space. But our solutions will be, whatever our utility is, will be catering to these issues that are in the market. So just to name a few of our utilities, number one thing that we do want to fix is to be able to stop or lower the scam that's happening right now in the space when it revolves around this. By introducing a freelance platform that has an escrow system for the project owners and the people providing the services, this way, for the project owners themselves, they will have the confidence that this thing will be delivered, whatever that they have hired a person for will be delivered without having to pay upfront. At the same time, the freelancers themselves that are legit, they don't have to worry about things like, what if I do it right now and the project just don't pay me? This kind of things have happened multiple times before. We've heard it from our own partners, like a few of our partners in different community group, those owners, they have mentioned, I can't mention names, but they have also told me before that they have issues with people that they were trying to help or promote, like they think that they're legit, but in the end, they don't pay them or they just block them or they do something really dodgy. So this escrow system that we're trying to introduce, it helps protect both sides of the people, the person that's going to pay, the person that's receiving payment, so that they can both have the peace of mind. Obviously, it doesn't solve all the problem when it comes to like crypto marketing, like the quality and the effect. So the quality and the effect is really judged by the person and the project that is using it. So there will be rating and review system available on our platform. Essentially, when they gather over there, what we do want to see is a reduction of people walking in or stepping into Telegram groups to say, hey, 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 if they are real. So if we're able to eliminate and push more of these legit people onto the platform, we would know for sure people will step in. We don't have to consider them because on our platform, people will be able to freely find the right people to use. So that's one main utility, obviously, that revolves around the freelance platform when it comes to the escrow. The escrow feature can only be triggered if they use our tokens. Hence the reason why we need to release the token before the platform. Once the token is out in the market, we need to use it to test against the escrow feature to see if it works or how does it work. What is the shortcoming? What do we need to fix? It needs to be in the in the mainnet condition for us to see if it works. It cannot be in a testnet condition. So the platform itself will start somewhere in April. And I think this is just one utility that we mentioned. There are multiple things over there on our platform that encompass what project growth should be. Since our name is organic growth, we do want to organically grow. We want to embrace the brand and have this organic growth for projects that do come on board. For example, we have services that we do promote them on the platform. We have ad services, we have leaderboard spots. It will be very different from other websites because this will be really highly vetted. And not everybody can get there. There's very limited spots, unlike other listing sites where you have to vote and whatnot. For us, we have the promoter spot, but we also have the organic spots where people can see how much the projects have spent on the platform when it comes to services on this. So for crypto investors, it'll be really cool because you can see, when you do research on basically what you need to do when you want to research on where to invest, you can look at the marketing budget that has been spent, all the initiatives that they have already done. At the same time, we're also pushing the freelancers. So the organic board also shows like top freelancers that actually earn on the platform. So that will help both of them, to grow their business further. We have places where we can write interviews on the platform, articles about projects. Again, all this information that we publish will be chosen carefully. Obviously, no guarantee, but we try our very best to be able to drill and share projects that are legit, places that we can promote them. So that's just on the platform where the utilities are. All of this, we will push OG tokens to be used. So if they want to pay with other methods, for example, like BUSD or BNB, because we're starting in the BNB chain, they have to pay like additional fees. But whereas if they use our tokens, if they pay, all they have to do is just buy the tokens and we won't charge them any additional fee. Same goes to the freelancer. If they opt to use and push the OG token, obviously that's the only that's the only payment method that can trigger the escrow. But at the same time, it will also drastically reduce the fee that they're charged. Traditionally, most freelance platform, they charge a good commission rate of 20-25%. But for us, if they opt to use OG tokens, it can be as low as 1%, depending on their membership tier, as high as 5%. So that's extremely low. We still need to charge this percentage or some other tiers to have monthly payment because for freelance platform, it's quite heavy. We need to keep a lot of data, so the server needs to be very strong. There's a lot of server fees that we do have to pay for. We're using AWS, so it's not cheap, for example. So there's few utilities on the platform. Should I pause before I mention the other part of the utility out of platform?
Yeah, I'm just looking through, reading the white paper. Yeah, I mean, you could go mention the rest.
Okay, sure, no problem. So out of the platform, we also provide, we do want to provide a few things that is a little bit different from what other projects are doing, because this is essentially, it's not just a project, it's a business for us. So we do want to have like a project grants, OG project grant. So what this project grant really means is to basically, for people who are eligible, if they have used OG token on the platform and if their criteria fit, of course, there's a list of criteria that they have to fit, they can apply for the grants. We'll get a community to vote which project should get the grant. What's the price of the grant? It's not just monetary. Obviously, we'll give them some assistance when it comes to financial uh, financial help, which is what the grant normally is. On top of that, we will also help them with marketing growth. So this is like when they win the grant, we don't charge them for those marketing services that is on platform, and potentially when we push them to our partners and whatnot, because what we do want to do is coexist and grow with the other projects. We do want to be able to help legit projects to grow in the space. A lot of legit projects are dying out during development phase. A lot of times, maybe because they don't have enough funds to sustain. They don't have enough push, or as the people start losing the hype or understanding of the project, it slowly go down. They couldn't sustain it, and essentially, before the development is even out, they have to cut everything off. And it's not always a rug pull or scam. There are a lot of legit projects that have this issue, unfortunately. So we do want to be able to give help out the space in that sense, because their growth would also mean the crypto space growth in the BNB chain, and the crypto growth in the BNB chain will also benefit us in our platform because the user base will increase. Obviously, that will also benefit our community because there's going to be more coverage. So whatever we're trying to do, obviously there's benefit back to us. It's not just giving, because people will be thinking, what's a catch-22? You're just giving, right? It sounds too good to be true. But it essentially is a loop that we're trying to create. It does come back to us in a way or another, and we're trying to do something good. That's one other thing. Second thing is we do have Elite Membership Club. So what this Elite Membership Club, like a lot of private communities now from crypto community channels, it's not very different in terms of benefit. Like they will get like extra benefit for whitelist spots for other projects, but we're a token. The requirement for them to join the Elite Club is they have to hold a certain amount of token to join. So this incentivizes people to be able to hold the token. That's number one. That will take care of the floor price. Secondly, they can earn not just from our project, but from any project partnership that we have in the future. Whether the amount is a lot or little, that really depends on how we start to grow it. But essentially, these benefits, we will push it back to this Elite Club members. It's a service that we're giving to them to say, we research all these things for you. We get all this opportunity for you. If you want to invest, you can, and that's what you can do. Secondly, it also benefits us because we can go to different projects that have potential and tell them that, look, when I come to you and say, I have a private group of this people, I think that's strong message, but I can top it up and prove it by saying, I have this amount of wallets. You can check all of those wallets. They've been holding since this amount of time. They're in our Elite Club. I can't tell you who is who, but they're in the Elite Club. And we are interested in your project. We want to know more, want to be able to invest, maybe in a different way altogether. So in this essence, I guess it's also organically helping to grow the investor's own portfolio. Obviously, we're not financial advisors. They still need to be able to do their own research, whatever that we share. But we want to be able to provide this service. This is of no charge to the Elite members. The only thing that they have to do is hold a certain amount of tokens. And every week, we will check through all these wallets and make sure that they're still holding on to the requirement. Because if they don't, they lose the benefit of being in the club. The last thing is we will also have our own services, bundle packages that we will connect with different call group channels that are legit and they're good, as well as potentially some audit company packages. So I've spoken to some audit companies. We potentially might partner for things like this when the platform launches. So these are the few things that people can use OG token to pay for, like all these bundle packages as well. So we're really working towards introducing a lot of utility to the token, because with the utility going up, when the trade volume goes up, that would mean there are taxes on both buy and sell. Those taxes, the benefit of those taxes essentially comes back to the investors or the people who hold the token. So it's like a huge loop that we're trying to create from all angles to support the token. So the token would support the platform. At the same time, the platform would support the token. I hope it's clear.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, awesome. So let's get started with a couple questions. So one thing that I'm curious about, how will you judge the performance of a certain, AMA lounge or a marketer or a call group, any promoters? Because I feel that is a big issue. And I seen that in your red paper that you mentioned that, like a lot of them, are either affiliate bots, or it also depends on the project too. If you have a good project that everyone wants to jump in, then of course investors are going to come, from the AMA or from a call group. But if it's a shit project, I think no one's going to buy, right? Because you have to kind of sell yourself too, right, as a project. So how would you, you would say you have some kind of rating system, or like how effective the marketer is? How would you do that?
Yeah. So the rating, thank you for this question. I think you're very on point on the money. So one thing as a disclaimer over here, the quality or the effectiveness of the marketing itself essentially is not judged by the OG team. It's really from the people who have used their services itself. So obviously, when they are new, it's going to be really difficult for people to be able to trust, or they have to try and see the reviews up front. What they can do essentially for these people is they can bring their existing customers onto the platform to build that portfolio, to make it to have a good track record for real customers that they've really had to continue over there. But when it comes to dispute, for us, we do have a dispute policy that we will adhere to. That wouldn't be covering things like effectiveness or so it wouldn't cover the quality and effectiveness of marketing, because like you say, it also depends on the material that they market. It's not fair for the marketers themselves if it's something that is not good and you say, oh, but you said this and that, but you can't do it. It's unfair to their side as well. So the rating system that goes both ways would really help this issue, because essentially people who have done the marketing, they can also rate and comment on the project itself about the experience that they've had, the things that they've done. So it's not just one way.
Is anyone allowed to rate, or you can only rate if you actually use their services on your platform with your token?
Only after it's been utilized.
Like what on your platform, right?
Correct.
So
like
because you said that. Because you said that they could bring their previous clients in to give them the ratings and stuff so that they could have their community.
No, like regular customers.
But then that would leave open to manipulation, because they could just bring a whole bunch of people that would give 5-star reviews, right, and things like that. And that's kind of what happens on Fiverr, on Yelp, everywhere else, to get the friends and family to review, and they buy reviews. So how would you fight this kind of manipulation?
Yeah, so they have to have the transaction. So for them to have the transaction, it has to go two ways. So one, they can either pay, if they want to do so, they will have to pay a significant amount in fees in order to do that, if they really want to go down that route, because they have to finish the transaction first for them to be able to post the comments on both sides. If they are to, whether they're choosing to use our token or whether they're choosing other payment method, they will be hit by some sort of, either if it's our token, there will be taxes. If it's the other payment method, they will be charged with processing fee on both sides, and that's super high. They can bring their regular customers that will still transact to build that portfolio, But people who will not transact again, they can't build a new portfolio. So they can write down the portfolio down there as a display, but that wouldn't be included in the rating. Oh, sorry. That wouldn't be included in the rating and review system. The rating and review system is strictly only after a transaction has happened.
Okay, I see. So if they have to pay with your token or with another payment method that has the fees, why not just go outside? For example, they could use your platform to find who's good, right? Like who's trusted, who's a promoter, marketer, look at the reviews, and then go outside the system to like make a deal with them and like hire them on, to avoid all the taxes and fees.
Yep, that's exactly the reason why we only introduced the escrow system on our token. Because obviously, like you say, like even I would do so because I would want to avoid the fees and save my business money, right? So if I were to go to places like Upwork or Fiverr, if I see that they have an individual profile, they would be more keen as well. But that comes with their own discretion. On the website, the escrow system helps them. And if there isn't a delivery or late delivery, the escrow can be unlocked and they can get back their money. So they wouldn't lose that. Whereas if they want to transact off the platform, that's completely up to them. And we're not liable for any losses that they had. They could have done their research here, but they did not transact there. They do not have their conversations within the chat. It's not within the parameters that we can cover. So right now, our dispute policy is only on late delivery and non-delivery, these two things. But that doesn't mean that we will not expand on those categories. These are the categories that we do want to start with and make sure that we're able to cover all grounds and any discrepancy within this gap. But as the time grows, I'm sure we'll encounter more cases for us to increase, our dispute policy. That would help the users on the base to be more safer or give them like more reassurance why they need to use the platform in general. Obviously for the projects as well, if they use the platform, if they use our token in the platform, they get a chance to apply for the grant. If they don't do that, they can't apply for a grant. So people who have not used the platform or used the transaction on the platform, they can apply for the grant. It's just not available for them.
Okay. Have you also thought about actually giving a discount? So, for example, you make the deals with all these marketers, but by using your platform, they get a discount. So even after all the fees, it would still be a similar price that they would pay going outside. Because for example, a lot of marketers and even launch pads, they offer referrals, even like for AMAs, right? Like offer referral services. So you bring them an AMA, they get like a 20% cut. So by you even having them featured on a platform, you could. It's almost like, let's say you're given the 20%, or you're earning 20% of the business from the referral because they're getting business through you. So technically, let's say you charge 20% fee or whatever, but you could also use that 20% to actually give a discount to the users that need to use these services. So that way, like even after all the fees, you still get your money back, you still get your fees because you're going to charge them anyways. But it makes the price reasonable. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, the only one that's actually really paying for the fees would be the person that's featured on there. But at the same time, they're getting all the business. So it's almost like they're offering the referral by So there's like ways of doing it like that. That way they wouldn't even have to go around you and and avoid the fees because you could just do the discount thing. So.
For sure. And then you make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing, okay, I'm looking at the use cases. So there's all these payment options that you could use a token for, right? Like for the futures and OG platform, for spot, for Telegram promotions. So the token could be used as a payment, like we discussed. So let's say someone uses the token as a payment. What would you do with those tokens?
Yeah, so the same thing applies. Basically, just to answer the previous thing that you've mentioned, I really like that you brought up about incentivizing the freelancers themselves. we do have some plans revolving around that. I think you give a really good idea about referral bonus, things like that we do consider. But we are thinking of various ways to incentivize them. Right now, we have some plans, but we have not solidified it before the platform's launch. We also want to get their feedback about what they are getting or what they do expect at this very moment for them to be able to join. So it's not just we decide, we also want to be able to contact them and see how they feel. So when April comes, a lot of it really will help us understand how to further push it. So back to your second question. Just now you mentioned about how will we use those tokens. So obviously, if they want to pay for these services, they can pay with other native tokens, or other tokens or other crypto. We will accept certain ones. When they do take our one, we'll give them a huge cut. We will still sell those tokens on our end, but we will not whitelist our wallets. We will still apply the taxes as anybody would, because this taxes essentially goes back partially as reflection back to the holders. As well as 2% of it, we use it for manual buyback to burn those tokens. So every token that we buy back will burn. So that would keep bringing down the supply. That would still apply. That is still going to be the same. So we wouldn't be different from other people who are providing services. We will not exclude ourselves from those taxes.
Okay, perfect. And okay, let's talk about the distribution of the tokens. Okay, so we discussed earlier. So you raised about 300K or so, I think, right? Let's see if I can see that. Yeah, about 165, 280. About 280 or so. Okay, 280,000, right? So I'm looking at the chart on your red paper, the one that has distribution of tokens, and I see the private sale 1.9%, pre-sale is 15%. Is that still accurate? Those numbers?
No, that has been changed. So we are uploading it tomorrow. We actually requested our development company to upload today, but we realized that there was some error that we had to fix. So they have committed to upload it tomorrow. The supply has drastically changed. We have brought down a lot of these numbers. So whatever you see over there in terms of allocation of numbers have definitely changed in terms of percentage. For example, in the red paper itself, where you see is a total of 100 million tokens with different allocations, such as there's a huge burn wallet of 25%. Essentially, we wanted to do that as we were progressing with the platform to push, it's like a huge news that we want to push so that we're able to burn every month of those supply. It's a marketing initiative that we have, but we've decided with the relaunch to give people a peace of mind, as well as to make sure that the liquidity pool is healthier, since we cannot feed everything in and we can't put too much into it from our side. We can feed in half of it, but overfeeding it is not going to be beneficial for us, because we do have the platform that we need to run, and we need to keep marketing expenses from there. So the total supply has been brought down to 57 million. We have reduced a lot of tokens from the team's wallet, from some of the marketing wallet, development wallet, even the investors wallet. So it's been brought down to 57 million total supply. Whatever that the previous contract holders get in V1, that doesn't change. So if they had 10,000 tokens there, they will get 10,000 tokens in the new one. That doesn't change. We'll restart with a price of 0.011 BUSD per token, and that would be a 627K market cap. So the allocation has changed.
Okay, so what percentage of the supply will be going to pre-sale and liquidity?
Liquidity from all the tokens from the V1 plus whatever that will go into Pancake Swap will be about 35 to 36%, because we have about almost 18% that we kept for centralized exchanges in future if we want to feed tokens over to them, or any like multi-chain DEX swaps. So we do keep tokens for those as well. So for Pancake Swap, plus, everyone's tokens from V1, sorry, it will be about 35% or 36%. Yeah.
Okay, so 36% or so of the supply is going to go to pre-sale, or that's pre-sale plus liquidity?
Yeah, but there's no more pre-sale after this because the relaunch is fair launch.
Yeah. We'll get to that, but you guys already had the pre-sale, so right.
Yeah.
So
correct.
the 280,000 that was raised, how much of that is going to liquidity?
So only from that 165,000 pool, we had that to the liquidity because that 100,000 pool, especially the 100,000 pool, is totally allocated very differently because that's not to feed the liquidity. When we had a pre-sale, it's purely for liquidity. So liquidity is 99,000 against the market cap. Now the new liquidity will be about 60,000 against a 600,000 market cap, a 10% ratio.
Okay. What about the 100,000 from the 4 investors? Where is that going? And also, how many tokens are they getting?
We have spent a lot of it in development and also the marketing push. So most of it is actually cost. Those are not things that will feed into liquidity. We're down with almost the last 10% of whatever there is. But that's for the development company for maintenance for the next 4 months when we launch. The angel investors themselves, they get 2 of them. Each of them will get 2.25% of the supply back then. So now it's going to be higher. So it will be 2.25 million tokens per person, but they are vested for 5 months. We have a legal agreement that we sign. They will get some part of the team taxes as well that comes in. They will get about 450,000 tokens each month as it unlocks, and that will be throughout 5 months.
Okay, so they spend about $50,000 each, right?
No, 35 each, and then the 2 founders, both of us, we have 15,000 each on that first pool.
Okay, 35,000 each, and that's 2.5%, 2.5%, right?
2.25%. Mm-hmm.
So that valuation leaves your company at let me see, $1.4 million, I believe, right?
Roughly, when we started, it was about 1.2. Yeah, it's a bit lower when we started, 1.2, but we're now starting a lot lower.
Okay, I see. So the market cap based on their numbers is 1.4 million, right? But the launch price is probably going to be considerably higher.
No, the launch price is 0.011. So essentially, they're getting a bit lesser than what they have invested, essentially. But we've pre-agreed because they have committed to a 2 years investment with us.
Oh, okay.
Essentially.
I see. So the launch price market cap is 1.1 million.
And the old one, yes, the old one is 1.21. The current one, the new one that we're relaunching is 627K. Because we burned a lot of those supplies.
Because you guys got rid of the tokens. How much of the tokens? Because you started with 100 million, right? 100 million tokens. What will it be now?
For the 57.
So you burnt like half of them? A little bit less than half?
A lot of them, correct. Because of the liquidity pool ratio, we don't want it to be like a lot of tokens and too little liquidity. It will be too volatile. It wouldn't be very beneficial when we start the platform. So The thing is, essentially, beginning when we talk about the marketing budget and development budget, we've made it very clear that if we don't need them to survive within those 2 years in the business, we will still burn them anyway. So right now, we know that with the whole relaunching, we need to make sure that people understand that we are committed. So we decided to burn a good part of it. Like I mentioned, the 25 million was supposed to be marketing initiative where we burn 5 million each month for 5 months. But that's okay. We can plan on other marketing initiatives. So that's 25 million gone. So the other 18 million really came from the rest of this, our own tokens. Some allocation for future investors or any VC that will come in, allocations for marketing and development. So everything has been reduced.
Okay. So how much is the team and marketing wallets going to be getting now?
So the team tokens will be 8 million, but they will not unlock. They will be vested because we also will have new core team members that will come in as we expand. But in the beginning, we'll at least lock it for 6 months, and then later on see how long we need to vest and to how many people. For future investors, I believe it's 8%. Sorry, 8 million tokens as well. Let me bring it up just to be sure. I don't want to give you a wrong figure. Just give me one moment. Sorry, it's just very slow. Bear with me. The numbers are here. So 8 million tokens goes to the team, 6 million goes to marketing, 5 million goes to development, 8 million goes to investors and partnership. Total of 20 million tokens goes into 20 million. I thought it was 22. 20 million goes to the liquidity pool for the new pool. So it's 35%. My mistake. It's not 36. And exchanges of futures staking when we go on the centralized exchanges, 10 million tokens. So it will equate to 57 million. I can send you the updated rate paper in PDF.
What about all the private pre-seller guys?
Yeah, so that's the inclusive of the 6 million that we'll put into the pancake. That's the 20 million that I mentioned. So from the private sale people, pre-sale people, it's about 12 million-ish. Plus some of them who have not claimed from Unicrypt. So we have allocated 14 million just to be sure that we're able to airdrop everybody when the migration has completed. And we'll add about 6 million into the pancake swap. So it depends on how much we're getting back and how much we can feed back to the pool. We might have to even burn 1 more million from the supply.
Okay, I see. So, okay, my question is, okay, you guys getting basically with the team and the marketing, a significant chunk of the tokens, right? If teams get about 8 million and only about 15 million or 10 million are actually going to pre-sellers or private sellers, and then you also have a tax, 4% tax for buying and 9% for tax for selling. That's marketing, development, and team wallets. So my question is, why do you need both? Why do you need a huge amount of tokens for team and marketing, and also a fairly large tax for team and marketing? Because the tax means having a tax, I understand, because that way you don't have to sell the tokens. You can still get marketing stuff. But if you have a large token supply, the team's going to eventually have to sell them, right? So especially for marketing, right? If you have marketing tokens, like the only way to really use that is you got to sell it. And that's a big chunk of tokens that's compared to like liquidity and also compared to how many tokens everyone's getting at launch from, pre-sale, from private sale. So it seems to me like it's just not enough tokens. Maybe they're the paying customers are getting, the ones that like investors, they're buying, that use Airbnb to buy tokens, and too many tokens for the team and marketing, especially since you already have that tax also.
So I can explain that part for sure. So the taxes, like you've mentioned, is because we don't want to touch the token. The token is only if we're not getting any taxes back. So there could be situations where there could be months where trading volume can be extremely low. We will not use the tokens unless we can. We try not to even pay anything with the tokens, because what we do want is essentially, if it's crossed that 2 years mark, if we don't need to use them at all, we will burn them. So what is really important for us is this is like a backup or like an emergency fund. for the team, it's not just for us, it's also for the expansion of the company. So for our platform, there's going to be a lot of people that will need to work on it in future. This is only the beginning. We need to be able to have an emergency amount there in case we're not generating any trade volume. If we're generating trade volume, amazing. If we're going on centralized exchanges, we won't have any taxes at all. So it really depends on how we play with them. But we will try not to touch it at all because, like you said, it's a huge chunk of the whatever that is going to us or whatever that we control. Although people can see it, it takes a lot of trust. So I do agree with you, but it is also something that we want to stand by because I have experienced myself where there are months that days where sometimes you don't even have $1,000 trade volume. What taxes are there? There's just no taxes. And you have server to pay, you have people to pay, you have marketing to run. Where do you find those funds? You still need some tokens.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand, and that's kind of why a lot of projects fail. Because let's face it, though, if there's no trade volume and then you have to sell tokens, what's going to happen to the project? That means you're going to have to sell, and the holders know that too. So that just seems to me like it's just going to be like a downward spiral at that point, right? Who's going to come in and buy and when? Because if you have a long-term project, you have to figure out how to bring the trade. That's the whole, I guess, the puzzle of being a developer is how do you constantly bring in new investors in? How do you getting the project to go up? Because if there's no trade volume, that means at that point I think it's already going to be a dead project because the only way you could get money out, like you said, is selling tokens. And when you sell tokens, that is going to get other people to sell too. And then who's going to be buying at that point?
It's not selling tokens. It's not the only way to utilize the tokens. Tokens could be a way that we can form partnerships with people that we want to do. Those can be vested things that we can do. It doesn't necessarily mean we take the tokens and we sell them. It could be used for different initiatives. It doesn't always mean that we take the tokens, we sell them. It could be we take the tokens, we agree on some terms with some people that we want to work with. We vest those tokens. There's a lot of things that you can do if you have the power to be able to help out. But if you don't have that and you don't have the trade volume at that very moment in business, you cannot control that during those moments. What are you going to do? There could be really times where you have rainy funds and whatnot. Yes, it is up to the business to push the trade volume, but it is also up to the business to judge business risk. They also need to have contingency plan. So if they don't have proper contingency plan on how they're going to use it, it's going to be bad. But if I'm going to come to the community and say, no, we're going to sell these tokens, no, it's a red flag for me as well. That doesn't work that way. So the marketing could be like things that we want to do for maybe we want to enter different staking protocol, or maybe we want to collaborate with some agencies and say, sure, you can have some of this, but you got to do this. We'll vest this amount for you. Development as well, they could be used for testing. We could use some tokens, in very small little amounts, maybe to feed back to people who are using the platform, for example, to incentivize them to use it. So it doesn't have to be like we are selling them. We can give them in really, really small volumes where people might not even sell, but we're able to distribute and utilize them as a marketing strategy, for example.
Yeah. Well, and also the fact that you guys are actually taking payment for services, right? In a way, I guess you're not really doing that because the freelancers are getting it. But every time there's a transaction, there's taxes. So that should actually keep the trade volume going, right? So if your project works the way as intended, the trade volume should never really dry up because your token should always be used for payment.
Yep, that's when we'll burn everything since it's not needed.
But maybe if you don't really need that much, I'm just thinking from a whale perspective, it's okay to have all these wallets, all these tokens, allocations, but there's a line between when you think it's too risky or when you think it's too much versus when it's almost insignificant, right? For example, if it's 0.5%, no one's gonna think twice about it. Oh, a team's getting 0.5%. But if they're getting 80%, everyone's gonna be like, oh, I'm never gonna buy this project because why does the team need 80% of the supply, so there is like a fine. I mean, there's both extremes, right? Like a very small amount and a huge amount. And for like a whale or a large investor, there is like a point to where they think it's safe, where it's a good number, and where they think it's too much. So I'm not saying maybe it's a bad idea, but maybe for some people it might be too much, especially since you guys are burning a lot of the supply. So those percentages that are left over, they're still really big, because the 8% of the team wallet is actually more like 12-13% of the total supply, because a large part of it is burned, right? Because if you only have 57 million tokens and 8 million is going to the team, that's a fairly big chunk of tokens. 8 million divided by 57, that's 15% almost. So I'm just saying, if you're gonna say it's only like a last ditch effort, or if it's just for emergencies, that's fine. But maybe you don't need that much, and that would actually help with investors, especially the larger investors, the whales, because if the liquidity is fairly low, and you go 10x, 20x, then there's still risk involved, because that one whale that's holding a large supply, or even that one team wallet that gets unlocked, it could be like half of the liquidity, you know what I mean, in the future. So that's not gonna let anyone else invest. Like if I'm a whale and I want to drop 100K, but I see liquidity is only like 200K, and my buy is gonna 2x the chart, but then there are people that could sell and dump immediately on me, and I'm literally, as soon as I buy, I'm down, $50,000 because someone dumps. So that's something to think about. You have to be attractive to future investors, not just now, but also the ones coming in later. Like, with big wallets, like what's the risk for them? That's why I'm saying, if you don't really need it, maybe you could make it smaller and give more tokens.
Yeah, we will reduce as time goes, but we cannot reduce any further for now, because we are trying to relaunch and not have people who currently already have the tokens to have too big percentage against the total supply. So I do agree with you. There will be a lot of burns that will come, because we also have the buyback and burn that we mentioned, right? But that will be on the circulating pool. So essentially, if everything we put in exchange, or even in current DEX liquidity, it will only be about 51% of the whole supply. So the rest is, you're right, it has a lot of other people involved or other wallets involved. But again, we can't burn everything right now. I agree with you. Essentially, we have to burn a lot of it, and for longevity of the project, that would be good. I would agree, because as an investor, I would stand with your point of view. At this point, we can't further burn. We might go down a little bit at launch, depending on how we feed into the liquidity, but not that I can see too much off at this moment. Maybe in the next couple of months, as it unlocks.
Okay. All right. Cool. Awesome. So, I actually, I think I'm done with my questions. So we can move on to the community. Is there any questions here? I did see someone mention something. Let's see. If companies like Binance usually charge up to $3 million to list on their centralized exchange, would that amount come from the team marketing wallet?
So it depends on how they are buying the tokens or how they are listing us. How centralized exchanges normally work is they will ask you for a portion of the token plus a certain amount of money for security deposit. So the security deposit is just in case if you have nothing in the pool. So the tokens is for circulation in the centralized exchange. So if they don't get it from you, they have to buy it from the market. So for us, we allocated this amount is in case if they're not buying from the market, but we want to expand our way of trade from people that they can get on centralized exchanges and whatnot. So these tokens will be used as a circulation. Binance is 3 million. I think it depends on the company that wants to get on. The price can vary. I have spoken to some representatives from there before. I know that the security deposit, depending on your company structure, could range from $1 million to $5 million. But Binance is not something that we're looking at right now, because the security deposit of $1 million is really high at this point. It's not the first thing that we will do, unless if we're able to get there with some help from some investors or people or connections, then that goes without saying. But if it's something that we have to sacrifice as a deposit upfront, we'll not look at it so soon.
Okay. All right. Any more questions, guys? But by the way, so you guys are fair launching. When is it? Say in 2 days?
It's 17th of March, 4 p.m. UTC.
Okay, well, it's not really a fair launch because you did have a pre-sale and a private sale, right? So everyone getting their tokens.
Yeah.
So you're just not doing
Yeah,
another one.
The new one is in fair launch condition because I know that a lot of people who migrated, they do have a new pre-sale to feed into the liquidity. But for us, we're not. Since we have funds, we're going to feed the additional there. We can drain later on. That's fine. So we will also have 0% buy tax for the first 3 hours because we have been, our community has spoken and they say that they do want to top up, but they don't want to, to promote that buy pressure and all that. They do want a incentive. So we've said it's fine, let's just do 0%. And we have a safety net for the first week of 25% sell tax. Later on, it'll revert back to usual of 10 and 15. And we will further reduce as the platform platform is launched.
Okay, perfect. Any more questions, guys? Looks like let me wait a minute or two. Let's see. I mean, I understand actually the use case really well. I don't know if you noticed, but I actually made a joke earlier before the AMA started about your YouTube video, and I'm like, wow, look, we're gonna use this for advertising because we're having a launch pad coming out soon with our token.
Oh.
And it's going to have a lot of we actually started like 6 months ago, and that was one of our original use cases, was like a Fiverr crypto, freelancers, escrow, that's just part of it, because as a launch pad, we want to provide all that also for our users, for the devs, trusted. Even we actually launched a token currently, and it started off as a test token for our contract. And then it became like a, full-on token, like a nanocap. But, it has its use case and everything. And one of the things is that I've been saying all along is this test token is not only testing the contract, but it's also testing marketing. Like, who's worth their salt? You pay like 8BNB to Caesar or Golem or whatever. Like, is it going to bring any buyers in? Like, are they full of bots? So we're almost using this almost like pre-vet the guys that will be using for our launchpad later on, like for example the marketers, the influencers. Are they actually worth the pay, worth the money? Is it real investors? Is it full of bots? So that's why we have a lot of similar ideas, so I like that fact. And of course, even there's multiple projects that do a similar thing. This space is so big, it's not like it's really a competition. In fact, it could be a partnership too. So it's not something that, because it does help against scammers, and that's my whole point. In this space is I want to provide the best tools possible to defeat the scammers. And if scammers don't win, that means who wins? That means that investors win, that invest in good projects, and the developers win, that are not just doing pump and dump projects, but actual long-term use cases. So because right now a lot of times you see like the projects to get the most hype, it's just some stupid pump and dump, because what happens is devs rug like 5 times, and then they have a lot of money to promote, and then they launch a quote unquote real project. It still ends up soft rugging anyways. But it's like, as a real developer, like having a real project, it's hard because you're competing against all these scammers that rugged sometimes millions of dollars, and they have millions of dollars to market the next token, and you're here, trying to raise 100 BNB, from so I think in the my vision for this channel and for the token is get together, with everyone that's like-minded individuals and, bring trust to this community. And I think, honestly, like what you guys are doing, that's actually a really good use case because, like I said, I mean, we have the same exact same idea, maybe different ways. But yeah, like the whole with, escrow, because I actually do escrow right now too, like on the side for like,
That's
the
nice.
CMC and things like that, because I want people not to get scammed. So we've been doing that, and it's great, because we don't want, we've seen people, they DM me like, man, I just got scammed by some CMC guy. He just took the money, they never got listed, he didn't refund, they deleted their account, and it's a lot of money, right? Like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. So it's insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the, you guys, it's a good use case, it's a good project. So even in the future, maybe we could like tie it in with our Launchpad, because we're going to have a lot of use cases for our project. We're going to have the launch pad. We're going to have the same thing what you're doing on the escrow service, the Fiverr, the freelancer part of it, connecting the devs with actual, employees or freelancers in a way. Or they could even go and hire team members directly from there, right? And it doesn't have to be like a freelancer. It could be like, well, we want them fully on our team, and we're going to look through like 5-10 graphic artists and, read the reviews and see who's good, who's not, things like that. And also like who's worth, I think the big thing is about marketing, right? Who's efficient. If I'm going to spend 10 BNB for someone, what am I going to get out of it? Am I going to get like 20 BNBs of buys or 30 BNBs of buys or 100 BNBs of buys? No, am I going to get huge investors? Or is it just going to be, they're going to take the BNB and use half of it to buy some of my tokens? So it looks like it works, but it's just them buying the money, with the money you sent them. Like I've seen that happen before too. Like some guys like, see, I did a pin post in my channel. See, it brought buyers, but it's literally the money I paid him. So it's like,
He botted everything. Oh, the nightmare.
yeah, it's like, they have like thousands of bots in their group, and there's like not even one real investor. So
It's so hard to tell because it really, you really need to get into it and get scammed a few times or hear about people getting scammed a few times before you wake up and realize you've been scammed. Just put it that way.
exactly. Yeah, it started off pretty rough for me. And the projects I invested, even in the beginning, they seemed like solid projects. It wasn't even like some nanocap, moon boy bullshit. I actually invested in projects that had like solid, leaders or teams that like were docs, KYC. Like, I don't know, I'm sure you probably heard of one of them, was called Save the Kids, when they had like real influencers behind them. Like, and they got in trouble, the whole Face Clan. Like, they got really in trouble for it because they were like someone behind it, and I don't know like who really was, the one that rugged or whatever. But that was one of them. Another one was called Slice of Pie. They all had their, socials, their Facebooks, and I don't even think they intended to rug in the beginning, but just the way they did the private sale, they were going back on their words, changing things up, and they created a lot of fuzz. So I think they just kind of decided to take off, and like, but they're stupid because they had all their socials, their faces, everything. So investors created like a group to hunt them down, and they find out exactly where they live, where they work, who their businesses are. They DM'd all their family and friends and told them that they're scammers and called the cops. So they probably got justice. I haven't really paid attention, but like even as I started, like it wasn't like just some random shit projects. Is supposedly good projects, and still get rugged. So since then, we learn a lot, and in this community especially, a lot of people don't even invest unless we have an AMA, because like I say, you don't have to hurry and rush and invest every day and get into 10 pre-sales. A lot of times it's not about how many times you invest, but what you invest into, because those 10 pre-sales you invest in could all be rugs. So I'd rather find one or two good projects a week, even that like long-term holds that will devs are actually over delivering, basically under promising, over delivering, and then you get into 10 scams a day. Because the way to make your money grow is slow and steady, especially, or like at least like you need to have patience, because I'm a day trader also, and I think one of the biggest things that I would say, advice I would give to anyone, is don't rush. You have to be patient. Same with day trading, same with investing. Because if you rush and you just buy at every single trade signal that you see, you're gonna like trade 100 times
Get
a day, and
right.
you probably get wrecked on 95 of them. So you want to let it come to you, right? If you have like an actual plan, like this criteria has to be met, do not make exceptions, because once you start making exceptions, it's all going to go downhill. Just be patient. If you don't have a trade today, you're going to have 5 tomorrow. You could look at maybe another stock, another currency, another crypto. Maybe this one's not providing any signals or is not meeting your plan. You could go look somewhere else. Maybe change the time frame. Who knows? But yeah, so like it's really to be consistent and to have good results, you have to let the statistics work for you, because trading and investing, at the end of the day, it all comes down to statistics, right? If you could find like a game plan that is profitable, and you have like 100 projects that you could look at in the past, and I made money on 70 out of 100, that's numbers for you. That's statistics you could use and gives you confidence. But if you just like haven't traded at all and you think of some random trading strategy out of your ass, and like it's not tested, are you going to be confident dropping $10,000 or $100,000 on it? No, you probably won't, right? You need to see your
It's
statistics.
gambling.
Yeah, exactly. You need to see that you need to see the previous performances. I mean, you have experience in this. So yeah, so like
Yeah.
honestly, like I do like really the project. The only thing, like we
Thank
said,
you.
that's negative, I would say, is that you guys did have a couple, pre-sales or launches, let's say, and but I'm sure that happens a lot in the space, so it's not really like anything that big of a deal. The only thing I would say is that some people are already down because like the liquidity, you couldn't take all of it, and you have to wait until like every month summer is released, so that might potentially cause some pressure of selling.
Mm.
So you have to be careful,
But
I
we're
guess,
feeding also. Yeah. We're feeding
because
most of the liquidity from our end, from our own wallet first, to go back to the pool when we relaunch. So the ones that we'll redrain is basically as a return to our own wallets, if that makes sense.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So I would just say you just need to be careful with that part, because a lot of people got the airdrops,
Mm.
and the airdrops that they got, essentially they didn't put that money in fully into liquidity, because some of it was lost, like with the V1, for example. So it's gonna take a while. So
Mm.
so it's kind of like having a project where let's say investors put in 100K, but only, let's say, 50K is going back into the project, kind of thing. So if anyone sells,
Mm.
it could really crash the price fairly quick. So we just got to be careful with managing FUD, make sure investors are happy, and
Yep.
and providing results, providing what you
Okay.
promised, basically delivering.
Mm, for sure. I agree
But yeah,
with you. I still like what you're saying. I find you very real with your comments, and the things that you say are really something people need to listen to. Despite whether this project or next project, these are like some real good questions that you can get the people to answer, because if they don't have, I would say from my perspective, if project owners are not they don't already plan this upfront, all the risk and things that they have to do or contingency plan, they would be really shaken. They wouldn't be able to give you a good answer, and that the plans that are coming is gonna be like really bad. So I do like all this that's going on. I appreciate your questions very much, and I'm happy that you hosted us here today. Really
yeah.
happy.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, it was a good AMA. I had a pleasure interviewing you. So if you have any last closing thoughts, anything else you might want to add before we go close this down, and we'll move on to the giveaway.
Yeah, of course. I guess just a final note, I want to thank everybody for spending time to listen to this, because obviously, when it comes to investment, it's not just money, it's also your time. Time is something that you cannot get back. So it's been 1 hour plus that you guys are with us. I really appreciate it. I came in 2 minutes late. Sorry, I was in another AMA, and I thought that it's going to be 6 p.m. you use UTC. I didn't know it's 5 p.m. UTC. So I got the time wrong. Yeah,
It
I just
actually
want
is
to
6
say if
p.m.
you guys,
UTC.
is it 6 now? Isn't 6 now?
No. This AMA was for 6 p.m. UTC.
But we started at 5, right?
No, started at 6.
Wait, has the time changed?
Unless the time changed. Wait, the time change?
No, it's 6 p.m. now, 6:24. So we started
Hold
1
on.
hour early.
Did I screw up? Hold on a second. Daylight savings time. Oh my gosh.
That's
Oh
fine.
wow, it just changed on Sunday, March 13th. That's why I was
Okay,
like
that's fine.
confused. So you're right. So it is 6 p.m. and I thought it was 6, but I'm in California. So
That makes sense.
we had daylight savings time yesterday. So it literally changed. Okay, now 6 p.m. is 11 p.m. 11 a.m. for me. Starting today, and actually since yesterday and for the last half a year, it was actually 10 a.m. So that's why. Okay, it makes sense. Okay, wow.
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. I randomly popped in because I just want to see and say hi. Then I realized that you've already started the video, so I was like, okay, I should jump in now, just in case. Yeah.
Okay, wow. So
All good.
yeah, that's why probably a lot of our guys were like missed it early on too because we started early.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, clock change. Yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't realize it was today.
That's okay, no problem. Thanks, guys, for your time. If you guys have any further questions or things or even suggestions, feel free to drop by and give us those information. More than happy to chat it out or discuss. Really like feedback or things that we can consider, although we might not be able to take everything on board, but we will listen through and assess what is good for, whether can we make it and does it work with what our goals are. So thanks for your time, everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. You have a good day. Thank you. Have a good day. And
You too.
guys, by
Thank
the way,
you.
like show them some support. Like this is a good project. They have similar ideas with what we have, at least a part of what we're going to be doing with the freelancers and escrow and making it safer for everyone. So yeah, go over there, please. Say you're from Anti-Ruggers, show some support, and we'll be just doing the giveaway shortly.
Okay. Take care, guys.
Have a good
I'll
one.
see
Take
you
care.
guys again.
Yeah, have a good
You
one.
too.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us. Bye.
no problem. Bye.